On the right, you can see more examples of oracle bones. The bottom two, I do believe, come from animals, and the top one is a turtle shell, which was perhaps one of the favored choices for creating messages to the ancestors. It is the bronze ritual vessels, however, that attract our attention, particularly in a museum context. They're among the most famous of the creations that come to us from the Shan. The object on our left is just one example, and it is, in this case, and there are a variety of vessel forms. In this case, this is a wine cup. It could have been used during your lifetime to make sacrifices of wine to the ancestors. It could have been left in the tomb for the ancestors. Perhaps it could also have been poured into the earth for the ancestors. But it would have been in association with making an offering to the ancestors. You could have just, in one scenario, you could have used it yourself in life, and then when you die, your family member, your son, for example, comes along and puts it in your tomb so that you can continue using this in the afterlife. These are incredibly elaborate, covered with abstract designs, and they are highly sophisticated artworks as well. This is our example from O'Reilly figure 4.3, and it is a ding. That is simply the name of the vessel shape, and what a ding is a vessel that is used for ceremonial cooking. You can actually cook in it. You can also store foods in it. You can also leave it as an offering, with or without foods in it, for your ancestors. It is an object that, before it was made in bronze, it existed in ceramic form prior to the Shang, so it has a long history. And again, I would just like to stress the continuity that seems to underlie the creations in China. The bronze versions, I think everybody would agree, are upscale, and these are the ones that would have been reserved in particular for ritual use. So if you're in a museum and you see Shang bronzes, you know that you're looking at a ritual object, something that would have allowed the living to connect with the ancestral world or with the world of the dead. These objects could also be buried with their owners upon the death of the owner, and these objects also carry inscriptions, at least many of them do. And that would give us the oldest non-oracle bone inscriptions from which to work and to study the beliefs of ancient China. These are very richly decorated with close to every inch of the surface covered, so there's a desire, not generally speaking, not to leave any empty spaces. The surface usually is covered with scrolls, with abstract decoration, and with animal forms in particular. The most famous of these does appear on our vessel, and it is referred to as a Toatie. Sometimes it's described Toatie, or pronounced Toatie, but I'm going to go with Toatie, and we'll see that written in just a moment. But let me point it out for us right here. It is located in this portion of our vessel. Maybe it's easiest to go over here and to take a look at it. And I think if you start to look closely, you'll see a couple eyes, and you'll be able to locate a face on the vessel. And that face is the Toatie, a little bit of a mysterious creature, although we might be able to at least come up with a reasonable suggestion for the interpretation. This is your Toatie cheat sheet. It will allow you to be able to pick out the parts of this, I'm going to say kind of commonly depicted face that appears on many of these bronze vessels. If we go to the upper left, we're going to see that we have a crest. And if we go over here, we can see the crest on this particular depiction. We also have a couple horns. That's what these things are, located right here. The eyes, of course, are pretty easy to see. This thing, I am calling a kind of snout. I think my reader is calling it a jaw, or maybe even some people have referred to it as a beak, maybe. We have a couple fangs located right here, another one over here, and I think you can find those on the sides over there. We do have a couple legs to the side. Okay, a leg here and a leg over here. And then we have extensions, which are sometimes interpreted as a tail or perhaps as a wing, or in this case, the reader is saying it's a quill. In other words, there are some references that might allow you to read portions of this as being bird-like in nature. But it's definitely a fantastic creature, a composite creature, and anytime we have a composite, we have to assume that there is an element of the supernatural that is a part of it. In some of these, you will see a seam in the middle of our tortilla, like right here. And the reason for that is that these are piece molded. They are created in pieces put together, and the seams are blended into the finished product.